Greetings everyone! Today we're going to talk about this beauty right here. This is the NOMAD Cosmetics Whistler Snow Lodge palette. It is very wintry. That's what the palette looks like on the inside. Super pretty colors, very winter Snow Lodge vibes. Like, I think they really nailed it with this. Another incredibly versatile palette. It is 15 pans of pigmented shimmers and mattes and metallics. I don't know if there's a couple of topper shades. I would probably say that Powder Specialist and Ski Bum are the two more sheer shades. And then all of the other metallics are super pigmented and bam on your eyes. Like, I like to use Powder Specialist as a highlighter or like an inner corner highlight because it's just a little pop of color. It's super subtle. It's not like bam in your face. Ski Bum is a little bit more opaque than Powder Specialist is, but still you can put it over top of the other metallics to give it a really pretty sheen. Powder Specialist and Ski Bum are also the two duochromes in this palette. Powder Specialist is like a white peachy pink duochrome, and Ski Bum is a blue purple pink kind of duo multi-chrome kind of color. The rest are fairly straightforward. You have a gold, you have a champagne white, ivory. You have Up to Snow Good, which is a red, Black Home, which is a dark blue. With this one, it kind of has a purple sparkle to it, so there's a hint of duochrominess to it, but for the most part, it is just blue. So Amuse, which is a delicious chocolatey brown shimmer. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then Whistler, which is this like minty green. Overall, really impressed with this palette. It is fantastic. I loved using it in my 3 looks. A lot of versatility out of this palette, as are most of the palettes that I like to work with. Lots you can do with it. The packaging is really pretty. I felt kind of obligated to do a review on this because I am from Vancouver. I lived 10 years of my life in that area. So for me, this was really close to home, and I figured, why not? As a first review I'm gonna do for this year. This is a brand that I already have palettes, or I have one of their palettes in my collection already, so I wasn't breaking my rules for like introducing new brands into my collection. So I figured, why not? So yeah, I'm not gonna ramble on too much. Let's get into the 3 looks and I'll come back with more after. On an Odin's Eye FR1, I'm taking the shade Snow Bunny, just in my outer corner, and blending it up towards the brow bone. This is very pigmented so far, and I'm happy with that. I'm gonna take a little bit of that on my lower lash line as well. Then on a smaller blending brush, this is my Luxie 237. I'm taking the shade Snow Mad, just a little bit. Very concentrated in the outer corner, blending up towards the brow bone. This is not showing up as dark as it is in the palette, but I'm okay with that, to be honest. And I'm using a very light hand with this one. I'm patting that color just in the outer corner because I want that color to really pop there and then blend outwards. Now going in with my MAC 217S, I'm taking the shade Après Ski, and I'm placing that in the inner corner, along the crease. It's a beautiful minty tone. And again, I'm creating that kind of angled shape to my eye. My colors on my camera are kind of all over the place because it's trying to like match my hair and then match my skin and then... Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the shade Ski Bum just on my finger next. And I'm gonna put that all over my lid. It's really pretty. Just gonna pack it on a little bit more in the center. Then on just a small pencil brush, I'm gonna take the shade Powder Specialist and pack that into the inner corner. Going back to the lower lash line with that shade Nomad on just an angled liner brush, I'm gonna place a little bit of that just in the outer corner. Going back in with the same brush that we used to blend it out, I'm just going to smoke that out. I'm going to take a little bit more of that shade Powder Specialist on that pencil brush again and just take that along the lower lash line. I'm also going to take a little bit of that shade Powder Specialist along my brow bone. I'm going to go back in with that shade Snow Bunny on my big blending brush and then just blend out the edges of this blue. And this is the first look completed using the Whistler Snow Lodge Nomad Cosmetics palette. So starting off today, I'm taking my Luxie 205 in the shade For Fox's Sake. I'm taking just a little bit of that, and with a very light hand, I'm gonna take that along my crease and outwards. Actually, I don't really like that. Brush is too big. I'm taking instead my Morphe M441, just a bit more of a taper to it, and I'm focusing that basically in the same place, doing what I did before, just along the crease. I'm almost focusing it above the crease a little bit. And I want to pull that outwards towards the brow bone, or I guess towards the temple more. And the same thing on the other side. I'll do my best to make it look even because I'm using a totally different brush. That one turned out a little bit more how I want it, but it's okay, we'll fix it. The side is a lot more blown out, so we're gonna do our best to try and match it. We'll just blend the fuck out of this. There we go, that's a little better. I'm going back in with a little bit and focusing some more of it in the outer corner. Still bringing it in, but I want most of that color payoff to be just in the outer corner here. I'm also going to take a little bit of that along the outer corner of my eye and just connect that to the lash line. I'm just using patting motions to lay down that color, and then I'm bringing it out just to create that wing shape going outwards towards the temple. Next, with my smaller brush, this is the my Luxie 237. I'm taking the shade Ski Out, and it's just the matte black, just the tiniest bit. And with the lightest hand, I'm pushing that along where we put For Fox's Sake, just to deepen it out a little bit in the crease. And this one I'm not taking too far in, just a little bit. I'm stopping at about the center and then a little bit in the outer corner as well. And I'm using a very, very light hand for this because I don't want it to overpower the red. One side definitely looks better than the other, but that's fine. And I'm just gonna go back in with For Fox's Sake on that brush that we used before. Just go over where we put that black. I'm taking a little bit of that For Fox's Sake also along the lower lash line, just along the outside. I'm keeping that more into the outer corner. Gosh, I really like the blend on these shadows. They blend really nicely. So now on my Luxie 209, I'm gonna try this with a brush first. I'm taking Up to Snow Good, and I'm gonna put this in the outer corner, basically along my whole eyelid. I'm gonna try it with my finger because I'm not super liking how that's turning out. Yeah, that's better. I really love that. It's turning out really nice. Then just to spice it up a bit, I'm taking the shade Ski Bum. I'm gonna see how that works over top. Oh yes. Basically wherever I put Up to Snow Good, I'm just putting Ski Bum on top. Oh wow. Oh wow, do you see that difference? It just like made it pop a little bit. It turned it a little bit more purple. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. All right, so we've turned it a little bit more purple. Now what I'm gonna do, using my Odin's Eye FR5 brush, I'm gonna take the shade Very Cool, which is this gold shade. And I'm going to place that along the lower lash line. Oh gosh, I made a mess. This brush is not working out. I'm gonna take that on my pinky instead. I'm just going to rub that along the lower lash line. Oh, that's so pretty. Taking that to about the center. I look like I'm crying gold. And then I'm gonna do, for the final thing, I'm gonna throw some green in the inner corner. Why not? I'm gonna take the shade Whistler and I'm gonna pat that in the inner corner. Oh, that's so pretty. I really like how that turned out. Super pretty. Okay, I don't know if I should leave it here or I'm gonna throw a little bit of that après ski color just here. Just connecting and smudging out, blending out that green shimmer into the eye. Just a little bit, I'm not taking too much of this. It just opens up that inner portion of the eye space a little bit, but still letting that green shine in the inner corner. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that Ski Bum. I'm gonna put that in the outer corner. That did create a little bit of a disconnect. So I'm gonna take the slightest bit of that black shade, Ski Out, and just pat it into that outer corner. I just want to make sure that there's that connection to what we've done on the top. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to take a little bit more of that red shade. Just blend it. There we go. I really like that. It's kind of wild, all these colors, but they work well. And there you go. That is the second look completed. For look 3, I'm gonna start off with a Morphe 160, which is this tiny little angled liner brush, and I'm taking the shade Bucking Great, and I am just gonna create a line. I'm just gonna create the shape that I want on my eye. It doesn't need to be super precise because we're gonna go in and smudge this out. I'm taking a little bit in the outer corner of my lower lash line as well. Just going in and creating that general shape that I want. Next, using my Odin's Eye FR2 brush, I'm taking the shade Gone Skiing. This is the shade I'm going to use to smudge that out. And I'm focusing this in the outer corner as well. Taking that down along the bottom lash line as well. And then smudging up on the brow bone. I'm creating a kind of C shape like this. And when I create that shape, I'm not adding any more product on there. I'm just using whatever is left on the brush to bring that product up onto my brow bone. I'm just patting some extra into the outer corner just to deepen it out as much as possible. And that last little patting motion, I'm not really blending it out too much, just a little bit, but I want that pigment to stay in the outer corner. So now I'm gonna go in with some shimmers. So I'm taking the So Amused on my finger, and I'm placing that in the outer portion of my eyelid. Taking that in a little bit towards the middle, but mostly in the outer portion. It's like a delicious chocolatey brown glitter or metallic glitter. Then I'm gonna take the shade Ski In, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that, and I'm taking that in my inner portion. Oh, that's so shimmery. If you can't tell, we're going for a neutral look today. And again, this is just on a finger. And I'm taking that a little bit over where we put So Amused, just so that we get a really beautiful blend to those two shimmers. That's so pretty. Oh gosh. Taking that brush again, I'm just going to swipe a little bit in the outer corner where that dark shimmer meets our matte shadow. Just make sure those edges are all nicely blended out, and taking along the middle just to make sure the shimmers are also blended nicely. Then on a Odin's Eye FR6, I'm taking a little bit more of that shade Gone Skiing. This is just a really stiff kind of pencil brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of that more in the outer corner of my lower lash line and really take that in towards the center. I just want to darken that up and really pack that color in the outer corner. And then because I can't do anything normal, I'm going to take the shade Very Cool, which is that beautiful gold shade, and I'm packing it into the inner corner. Neutral. Who knew her? I sure don't. Want to do something completely neutral? No. No, I don't. That's not true. I've done it a couple times. And this is the third and final look completed using the NOMAD Cosmetics Whistler Snow Lodge palette. And we're back. I hope that you enjoyed those 3 looks. So my thinking with them was kind of like, I'll do one that's like on the lighter side, that's more like a fairy a winter fairy vibe, I'll do one that is darker and more vampy, like a more bold look with the deep reds and all of those colors. And then I would do one that was just neutral with like a pop of gold, because why not? If you don't want a pop of gold, just don't put the pop of gold in there. Just stick more of that champagne-y tone in the inner corner and you're golden. Heh, you're golden because there's a gold. But yes, I loved using this. This is a really pretty palette. I am going to dig into this quite a bit. I foresee myself using it a lot, so yeah, it's really pretty. There's lots of pine greens. There's green, blue, red, gold, brown, like a lot of different colors that you can use for this time of year or any time of year, really. So I don't really have a whole lot of critiques for this palette. All of the colors blended out really nicely. There was no patchiness. They were all very easy to use. None of them left any streaks or anything. There was some fallout with a couple of the shimmers, so just keep that in mind. The gold especially left some fallout, so use cautiously and do your eyes first, not like what I did. Super pigmented. All of the shades were incredibly pigmented. I had no issues with any of them showing up like little goblin farts and then drifting away into the wind. And most of all, the colors just worked together really well. I didn't get any kind of muddiness. Obviously, if you try and blend the green and the red together, you're gonna get some muddiness because that's just the nature of those two colors. You mix them together, you're gonna get brown. But yeah, the color story of this is like very inspiring. There's so much that you can do with just 15 shades, as exemplified in my 3 looks. So this palette does retail for $39 US, so it is like not super expensive, but not super cheap either. It's kind of like mid-range. So some of the proceeds for this palette do go towards the Whistler Community Foundation, which just helps fund arts programs in the area and build the community's larger culture in a sense. So the purchase of this palette does go towards a good cause. But that's pretty much it for me and the Nomad Cosmetics Whistler Snow Lodge palette. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that the 3 looks gave you some inspiration for what to do with this palette. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.